The first thing I noticed wasn't my father's face. It was the deadbolt. A brand new brass lock gleamed on my front door. The second thing I noticed was every box I owned stacked neatly beside the driveway. My clothes, my books, the framed photograph of my late mother wrapped in an old blanket as if it meant nothing. Then I heard my father laugh. "Perfect timing," he said. "You're just in time to watch someone else move into your house." For a second, my exhausted brain refused to believe him. 22 months. That's how long I'd been deployed overseas with the United States. Army. 22 months of 12-hour shifts, missed holidays, sleepless nights, and saying goodbye to the only life I'd ever known. I came home expecting peace. Instead, I found strangers moving boxes inside my living room. The front door opened wider. Ashley stepped outside carrying a coffee mug. My coffee mug. She tossed a set of keys into the air, caught them with a grin, then looked me up and down. "I guess the Army forgot to tell you," she said. "This isn't your home anymore." My father reached past her, pulled the front door shut, and slowly turned the new deadbolt until it clicked. The sound echoed through me. Not because it locked the house, because it locked away every memory inside it. My mother's rose garden, the kitchen where she taught me to bake, the living room where we celebrated my Army commission before cancer stole her from us. "Dad?" My voice barely came out. "Tell me this is some kind of joke." "It isn't." He folded his arms. "You were gone. Ashley needed a place to live. I made a decision." "You had no right." Ashley smirked. "You always thought this family owed you something because you wore a uniform." I stared at her in disbelief. 3 years earlier, I'd bought this house with money I'd earned myself. Before leaving on deployment, I'd trusted Dad with one simple responsibility: keep the property maintained until I came home. Instead, he'd stolen the one place that still felt like Mom. Ashley lifted her phone. "Don't leave yet," she said with a smile. "Everyone loves a public meltdown." They expected me to yell, to cry, to beg. Instead, I reached into my pocket and quietly dialed a number. The person who answered listened for a few seconds before asking one calm question. "Can you confirm this happened while you were still on active duty deployment?" I looked straight at my father. For the first time since I'd arrived, his smile disappeared. My father folded his arms and laughed. "Go ahead," he said. "Call whoever you want." Ashley waved her phone at me. "Don't forget to smile. This is going to get a lot of views." I didn't answer. I carried my duffel bag to my truck and set it in the passenger seat. When I reached for the keys, my hand was shaking so badly that I missed the ignition twice. Through the windshield, I saw Ashley sitting in my porch swing, the one my mother and I had built together the summer before she got sick. She smiled and slowly rocked back and forth as if she'd lived there her entire life. I took one long breath, started the engine, and drove away. I cried exactly once. Then I wiped my eyes and never cried again. 45 minutes later, I parked outside the legal assistance office on the nearest Army installation. Captain Daniel Brooks greeted me with a firm handshake. He listened without interrupting as I explained everything. When I finished, I placed 3 documents on his desk. My deployment orders, my original property deed, the limited power of attorney I'd signed before leaving the country. He read every page in complete silence. Then he removed his glasses, highlighted 3 dates with a yellow marker, and circled one signature. His expression changed. "Captain Carter?" He looked directly at me. "If everything you've told me is accurate," he paused, "this isn't just a family dispute." He picked up the phone. "I need CID in my office immediately." 20 minutes later, the door opened. The room seemed to grow quieter. A tall man in a dark suit walked in carrying a slim evidence case instead of a briefcase. "Special Agent Marcus Hale," he said. Even Captain Brooks stood to greet him. That told me everything I needed to know. Agent Hale spread copies of the county records across the table. He didn't begin with the signature. Instead, he pointed to the notarization. "The notary who certified this deed," he said calmly, reported her official, "seal stolen almost 7 months before these documents were filed." The room fell silent. He slid another document toward us. "And there's something else." Ashley had proudly uploaded photos from my front porch that afternoon. One image showed her holding the new keys. Behind her, the newly installed deadbolt was clearly visible. The photo's timestamp matched the exact day the fraudulent deed had been recorded. Agent Hale zoomed in on the image, then looked up with the faintest smile. "She didn't just celebrate taking your house." He tapped the screen. "She just handed us evidence she can never explain." Every morning, I reached for my phone before I even opened my eyes. Every morning, nothing. No calls from Agent Hale. No updates from Captain Brooks. No arrests. No justice. The waiting was harder than the betrayal. While I slept in a small furnished apartment near the base, my father and Ashley woke up every day inside my home. I couldn't stop picturing it. Ashley drinking coffee in my kitchen. My father sitting in my late mother's favorite chair. Strangers walking across the hardwood floors I had spent years saving to install. Agent Hale warned me not to lose patience. People think federal cases are built in dramatic moments. He told me during one of our brief calls. They're not. They're built one piece of evidence at a time. 19 days after I came home, my phone finally rang. "We're ready," he said. My heart skipped. "What happens now?" "I'd like you to witness something." An hour later, I parked half a block from my house. "Stay in your truck," Agent Hale instructed over the phone. "Whatever happens, don't approach the property." From where I sat, I could see the entire front yard. Ashley had transformed it into a celebration. Children chased each other across the lawn. Someone was grilling burgers on my back patio. Neighbors admired the flower beds my mother and I had planted years earlier. Ashley stood near the front door, laughing as she gave guests a tour of my house. Each smile felt like another knife twisting deeper. Then 3 black SUVs quietly turned onto the street. No flashing lights. No sirens. Just silence. The vehicles stopped in front of the house. 4 investigators stepped out alongside 2 sheriff's deputies. The music kept playing. Inside, no one noticed. A sharp knock echoed through the house. The front door opened. Even from half a block away, I watched the color drain from my father's face. His smile vanished. His shoulders stiffened. One investigator presented a warrant. Another calmly held up an evidence folder. Ashley pushed past my father. "There has to be some mistake," she shouted. "This is my house." Agent Hale never raised his voice. "That's exactly what we're here to determine." Within minutes, investigators moved room by room. One deputy photographed the new locks. Another collected laptops and financial records. Then Agent Hale opened the desk drawer in my father's home office. He carefully pulled out a brown envelope. Inside was my original property deed. He looked toward Captain Brooks. "So that's why they never wanted her back." Ashley grabbed my father's arm. "Dad, say something!" But for the first time in my life, he had nothing to say. That evening, Agent Hale asked me to meet him. He placed a thick case file on the table. We found far more than we expected. He opened the folder to a page covered with addresses. "There are 4 other properties." I frowned. "What does that mean?" He looked me straight in the eye. "Your father's name appears in every fraudulent transfer." My heart stopped. This wasn't the first house he stole. Agent Hale slowly closed the file. "Captain Carter, you were never his only victim." For a long moment, I couldn't speak. I stared at the list of addresses in front of me. 4 families, 4 homes, 4 lives that had been turned upside down. Agent Hale quietly closed the folder. "Your case didn't just protect your house," he said. It exposed a pattern. Over the next several weeks, investigators contacted every family connected to those fraudulent transfers. Watching those homeowners finally learn the truth reminded me that this case had become much bigger than me. The evidence kept growing. Forged signatures, false notarizations, financial records, text messages. There was nowhere left for my father to hide. The day of the sentencing, I sat quietly in the back of the courtroom. My father stood before the judge with his head lowered. For the first time in my life, he couldn't talk his way out of the truth. The judge accepted his guilty plea. The wooden gavel echoed through the courtroom. My father slowly closed his eyes. 2 deputies stepped forward to escort him away. He never once looked in my direction. Ashley wasn't charged as the organizer of the scheme, but investigators concluded she had knowingly benefited from the fraudulent transfer. The photos she'd proudly posted from her new house became part of the evidence file. Within weeks, those posts disappeared. Soon after, so did the social media account she'd used to celebrate taking my home. The same picture she believed proved she had won helped prove she never truly owned it. A few days later, the court returned my house to me. I unlocked the front door and stepped inside. The house was silent. Sunlight poured through the living room windows exactly as I remembered. I walked from room to room until I reached the fireplace. My mother's photograph was still there. I picked it up gently and carried it outside to the rose garden we'd planted together years before. A soft breeze drifted through the flowers. For the first time since coming home, I felt at peace. I smiled through tears, looked at Mom's photograph, and whispered, "I'm home, Mom." In that moment, I realized something no one could ever take from me. They stole my house for a while, but they never stole who I was. Before you go, I'd love to hear your perspective. Do you think being family should ever protect someone from the consequences of their actions? Or is that the moment justice has to come first? Share your thoughts in the comments. Like and subscribe Revenge Diaries for the next unforgettable episode. Thanks for watching the video.